we get a lot of people come to us with a problem that's very specific. So I'm not sure I've got the right structures. I want to save more in tax. What are my options? Now we have this thing, it's a core belief for us that the best decisions financially are usually made as part of a real plan. And a real plan has a starting point, where are you now? And that's a clear picture of your world, everything, assets, liabilities, structures, income, expenses, crystal clear picture. Then it has a picture of your goals. What are you actually trying to achieve? So save tax, people often say, is a big goal, but when we sit down with them, they don't want to pay any more tax than they have to, but equally they don't want to do silly stuff. I'll give you an example. You can save a lot of tax by donating money to charity. Now you won't have the cash. You've got to give away $100 to save $30 or $50 in tax. So you've lost the whole 100, whereas when you pay tax, you've still got $50 to $70 per 100 left at the end. So we had a recent couple come to us, both medical specialists, both earning close to $1 million each. Very frustrated with the level of tax they were paying. And we went through some options, but before we went through the options, we looked at their goals. And for them, the goal was about financial independence. There were some other lifestyle goals. They weren't in a hurry to retire. They're in their late 40s, and most medical professionals that we work with aren't in a hurry for early retirement. They've generally studied for a long time. They like what they do. They want a bit of financial freedom and ability to structure potentially differently, but they're not trying to retire by the time they're 55. They're quite often going to work till they're 60, 65. So once we get clear on the goals, we can then say, all right, let's look at what we can save in tax. But if we look at the usual strategies, they're already maxing out super. So they can only put 30,000 into super each year. And if they're earning 500,000 to $1 million, there's no more money they can put into super. So they might be able to take advantage of the catch-up contributions if their balances are under 500,000. So we'll absolutely do that on their way up. But once they've done that, it's just 30 grand a year. So then you're looking at what are the tax effective strategies. And the usual ones that people talk about are negatively geared properties. And absolutely, it may be appropriate for them to buy 1, 2, 3, 4 negatively geared properties, but we've got to be careful here, because negative gearing comes because you're making a loss. That loss comes from the fact that you're borrowing money, and your loan repayments and the interest is more than the income coming in. So that's the negative cash flow, and that creates pressure. I've seen people in their 60s that might have 7 or 8 properties, but they've got to keep earning $1 million to keep paying the interest. And there's nothing sadder than someone that has to keep earning $1 million. What we're chasing for lots of people here is flexibility. So in this case, we decided on a few properties, but not crazy. And we then just looked at some simple strategies around wealth building through dollar cost averaging. And in this case, they were able to put away $30,000 a month. And we structured that in a trust with an investment company as a beneficiary of the trust to minimise the tax on the earnings. And once again, get good advice around this stuff, because it can be complicated. But we're able to show them a path that by the time they're in their mid to late 50s, they would have the freedom to potentially not work as much as they wanted, but more importantly, to choose how they worked. Now, they might keep working just as hard, but they could take a sabbatical for 6 months. They would have enough money, because when you're doing 30 grand a month of averaging into a broader portfolio, you get to $2, $3, $4 million really quick. We do the projections for people, and it was much more important for them in the end to have that financial freedom that they got by not having too much debt, compared to, yes, saving some tax but losing money and having so much debt that by the time they were 55 to 57, they couldn't actually retire without selling lots of property, triggering more tax, by the way, on the capital gains. So having that plan and having a blend of strategies that includes, max out the super, but that's not an issue for super high income earners. So then you've got to craft a series of strategies around structuring. So instead of investing in joint names, for instance, we've got a trust with an investment company that will at least cap the tax on the earnings. We'll look at any gearing they can do that's going to help without putting too much debt in place that's going to restrict their financial freedom. But above all, it's putting it together in a plan that they go, yep, that's us, we're happy with that plan, then let's get it done.